Hi, my name is Claire. I'm a software engineer, and I'm going to give you an overview of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or as I call it in the biz, WCAG, are published and maintained by W3C with the goal of setting a standard on what makes web content accessible. They're used by designers, engineers, and lawmakers alike. The goal of the guidelines is that all the information and functionality on a website is available to all users regardless of their limitations. These guidelines help people with low to no vision, low to no hearing, colorblindness, or people who use screen readers and those unable to use a mouse due to either temporary or permanent disability. But you know who else web accessibility helps? Literally everyone else. Have you ever turned on captions or subtitles to help you understand video you're watching? Congratulations, you're using an accessibility feature. Web accessibility and accessibility efforts at large benefit everyone because it gives us more options in how we can engage with something and make systems easier to use. All of the guidelines can be sorted into 4 sections, or the 4 core principles: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Each of these capture a different area of accessibility needs. Perceivable is about making sure you can access media in different ways. Some examples are providing text alternatives for non-text content, providing captions and other alternatives for multimedia, and making it easier for users to see and hear content. Operable is mostly about how the user navigates the website. Some examples are make all functionality available from a keyboard, give users enough time to read and use content, and does not use content that causes seizures or physical reactions. Understandable is about making the information on the page clear and easy to navigate. Some examples are make text readable and understandable, make content appear and operate in predictable ways, and help users avoid and correct mistakes. Robust is simply maximizing compatibility with current and future tools. All of these concepts are then broken down into individual guidelines. WCAG 2.0 has 78 in total. Each guideline has a reference number, a name, requirements, and a conformance level. Each guideline is categorized into 3 levels of conformance in order to meet the needs of different groups and situations. These levels are A, AA, and AAA, with A being the lowest level of conformance and AAA being the highest. I think of A as the bare minimum, AA as a general standard as it is the one most often required by law, and AAA as the highest level of accessibility. However, it's not possible for every website to meet it, thus it's not required. Let's compare 3 similar guidelines with different levels of conformance. 1.2.2 requires captions in all pre-recorded video and audio content. 1.2.5 requires audio descriptions on all pre-recorded video content. And 1.2.6 requires sign language interpretation for all pre-recorded audio or video content. In practice, what requirements for web accessibility will look like are: you must be in compliance with WCAG 2.0 AA. This means you need to be following WCAG version 2.0 and fulfilling all the guidelines level A or AA. When is web accessibility required by law? I spent way too long trying to find a straightforward answer to this question. It ends up it's not super simple. In the US, you're mostly looking at 2 main laws talking about web accessibility. Section 508, which mostly applies to government entities, and the American Disabilities Act, which mostly applies to public businesses. Specifically, the ADA has the term public accommodation, which is just a good or service offered by a public business that needs to be available to everyone regardless of disability. The ADA will tell you, yes, websites count as public accommodations. Here's where it gets kind of tricky though. In the lawsuits where places are being sued for not having accessible web features, sometimes the courts will go back and say, actually, this specific website isn't a public accommodation, therefore it doesn't need to meet these standards. I found a law review breaking down the reasons why sometimes this happens, and it's pretty interesting. However, I want to be clear, if you are a business building something for the public, you definitely should be paying attention to accessibility laws, and if you don't, there's a likelihood you might get sued. Recommendations for incorporating WCAG into your work. Step 1. Read the WCAG guidelines from top to bottom. I've given you a general overview, but it's important that you get the full picture of the guidelines. Step 2. Explore web accessibility evaluation tools. There are many tools to help you locate missing accessibility requirements in your work. My favorites I use in my work are Wave, a Chrome extension that helps you easily identify errors and visualize page structure, and WebAIM's Contrast Checker, which is super helpful when selecting the perfect colors for your website. Step 3. Integrate WCAG into your development cycle. I've seen this look like adding a QA step to verify accessibility, automating testing in your commit pipeline with a tool like Accessibility Checker, and investing in accessibility education for you or your team. Working in the tech industry, I can tell you I have seen these specific things work, but they only happen if essentially an engineer on the team starts to vouch for them. In my experience, and from what I've heard, the business side is often only interested in the bare minimum around this, because it's not seen as a feature that's going to benefit the majority of users. But again, I want to emphasize, even if we're ignoring the legal requirements, accessibility is a thing that helps everyone and should be seen as a plus to business. Step 4. Seek out experiences and stories of disabled users. Ultimately, the best way to build out accessible experiences is by listening to those who need it. Take time to seek out and listen to those stories. Working in software often means, for better or worse, we're building systems people are going to rely on in the future. Part of our job as technologists is to understand that some people have a completely different lived experience than us, learn what that looks like, so we can build systems that are going to serve everyone. Web accessibility isn't just for one group of people, it's for everyone. And it's part of a larger conversation of how we build equitable technology. It's up to us to make sure that conversation is happening. I hope you learned something useful from this video. There are many things that I cut for time. I've included a bunch of resources in the description. If you're looking for additional learnings, I would highly recommend Africa Kenya's channel about web accessibility, where she has a bunch of interviews and study sessions and really gets more into the nitty-gritty of these things. Okay, thanks, bye!
We ask for accessibility. Frankly, the Web Content Access Guidelines, WCAG, are helpful.
Coding for Cuties is made by cuties for cuties and aims to create fun and approachable educational content surrounding software and technology. Subscribe if you want to see more.